You are being recorded.
So if you could take one and pass it on. There will be a quiz later.
I hope so.
Aristophanes to Eleanor Roosevelt. He has Eleanor Roosevelt and Gandhi and Leonardo da Vinci and Carlos Castaneda. There's a lot of them.
I'll take one.
Krishnamurti. Yeah.
This is a package, how are you gonna actually
Wow,
do those?
Were you ever a teacher, Zach?
30 years.
30 years, okay, I had the feeling.
Actually, I'm still trying, still working on it.
Still teaching.
Yeah. Okay.
You can move it however you need to.
Try not to put it in between the camera.
Yeah, we don't have it on that side because of the cameras, because it gets in the way of the Zoom.
Well, I
There's,
just want to
Yeah.
be able for the mic to get out there, so
It
I'll do
can
that.
get out
Okay.
there where it was.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Okay. Testing,
There you go.
testing,
Yeah,
testing.
good. You're the-
Okay,
It's-
so thank you all for being here. I love you all. I want to say that I think most of you know I'm extroverted and I'm not shy of talking. But a mic is a different story. A mic is a challenge for me. I get timid when I'm in front of a mic, so this is an exercise for me in working on that. I collected quotes regularly for 25 or 30 years, and I compiled quite a long list. And today I just took quotes from that longer list for quotes that I thought would appeal to this group. Today we will just be looking at the quotes on the first page. Okay. You may not turn the page. So what we will do is I will give you 3 to 5 minutes to read those quotes on the first page. And then if a quote there particularly strikes you, that you want to talk about it, you guys can choose which quotes we'll discuss. We can't discuss all those quotes on the first page. But if you see one that particularly strikes you, then we can talk about that. The first, let me get my copy here. I don't have them all memorized, as much as I wish that I did. So before we do that, I want to talk about the first two quotes. The first two quotes I want to treat myself. So the first quote, "By words the mind is winged," from Aristophanes. I really enjoy the ongoing conversation I have with many people in Taos, especially Mike Three Bears, about the importance of words and whether words are important and what's going on beyond words. I think this is a very important question. But my feeling is that words can help us to get where we want to go, even if they can't take us all the way. Each word has a vibratory rate, just like everything has a vibration. And related to the song that we sang this morning about from 1 Corinthians, that all the words are, in my opinion, facets of love. That love is this wholeness that, how can we say the whole, not fragments, because that would be separation, but the whole diversifies. the whole becomes the many, that all words are facets of the whole of love, and that if we recognize that words are all connected, just like everything's connected, that words can help us to grow and in our eternal journey toward wholeness and oneness. The second quote there I have shared with you before. I told you that this quote is my favorite quote, and just because I love it so much, I want to share it again. I slept and dreamt that life is joy. I awoke and saw that life is service. I acted, and behold, service is joy. From Rabindranath Tagore, famous Indian mystic. So go ahead, take a few minutes to read the quotes on this first page. I would love to lead discussions on every one of these quotes, but I would love it even more if you share what impacts you especially, and hear from you about what you want to address. Jonathan?
Well, I like the Eleanor Roosevelt quote.
There are two of them from
Yeah,
her.
the one near the top.
Okay,
Really very clever. She comes across as being very high-minded while getting in a dig at small-minded people. That was very clever.
you know, that quote has a story to it in my life. I was about to begin college, and I was, for some reason, walking through a dormitory. And as I was passing one door in the dormitory, this was listed on the door of the dormitory, this quote. And I thought it was so great, so powerful, that I copied it. And so that was 45 years ago.
Can we just say the quote
Yeah.
for Zoom people, because they
Oh,
have it.
okay, and
It
the
says-
quote is, "Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people."
I mean, it's very funny. She's almost like contradicting herself in 3 sentences.
So John says, it's funny because she's almost contradicting herself in very brief sentences. But I agree with you, John. She's saying something very meaningful, and at the same time taking a little bit of a shot at people who talk about people.
Which is basically all the media does, is talk about events and people.
Mm,
That's all the media
that is
is.
so true. Wouldn't we love a media that actually talked about ideas?
Mhm.
Or
Thomas,
Well, as a writer, the first quote
by our wings,
has a lot of
By-
meaning for me.
by-
By
is that-
words, the mind is winged,
by words the mind is winged.
because I guess I've been working with, I've been a writer most of my life, so I guess I've been working with
Wait,
words.
hold on.
No, don't use your mic, just,
Do we have another
we
one?
have others.
I can pass it about, yeah.
Pass it about.
Okay,
Let us pass it about.
Indeed, right.
Couldn't pull the cord a little
Shy
more.
about mics, but this is it turned on,
No, it's all
yes, it's good, it's good.
good. You're all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't share your timidity, Zach, with Mike.
He's gonna talk all day.
Can I get some of that?
But anyhow, I've been a writer most of my life in one form or another, a lot of newspaper work before I became more of a creative writer. And I think that somewhat blends in with what Eleanor Roosevelt is saying about great minds. I don't profess to be a great mind, but now I write about ideas where, as a newspaper man, a reporter, a feature writer, I wrote a lot about events and certainly a lot about people. Those seem to be the two themes that ran through my writing at that point. So I think it probably was the spiritual life that I turned to and accepted and followed that led me then to write about ideas, and mostly spiritual ideas. And but words are so important. They can serve us, or they can somehow interfere with our understanding of life. I know in a lot of discussions I've been in, groups, studies, and so forth. I always said words get in the way as we tried to describe our interpretation of one thing or another. But so I suppose that's my dissertation on words.
Hopefully, when we do talk about events and people, we're actually talking about ideas. Those events and people represent ideas. We all carry meaning, and if we can see the meaning behind the events and the people, that we can get the richness that everything provides if we're open to it. Other quotes?
I
Yes,
really
Sandy?
like,
I like that, that's good.
Zandy?
sorry.
Go ahead and read the quote, Zandy.
Oh, read the quote. I really like this quote by Carlos Castaneda. We either make ourselves happy or miserable. The amount of work is the same. I love that. I'm often counseling friends who are depressed about, and myself as well. And sometimes the idea that we create our own reality with our thoughts can be a little hard to swallow occasionally. And there's another quote that goes along with this that I'd like to keep in mind, and that's happiness is an inside job. Because wherever you focus your energy, that's what's going to be top of mind. So it's really good if you can catch your mind going down the rabbit hole and change your mind.
We can get really deep into the negative side. We can really go on and on with that and lose track of the fact that it's just a small part of a much bigger picture. Anybody else want to talk about that quote? Any other quotes you want to raise?
I cheated and went to the second page.
I'm gonna, for now, I'm gonna say no.
Do we get a key there?
Yes, of course,
Such a great gift.
sure. Really, when I was collecting those quotes over 25,
Oh, did I get scolded so I can't?
when I was collecting those quotes over 25 or 30 years, I was always wondering, when will I ever have a chance to share them and use them and put them to use? So I'm so glad to have an opportunity to bust out the quotes, and you'll see in the 10 pages, there are some really strong quotes. A lot of them, most of them probably are not familiar to us, even though a lot of the people named in the quotes are well known, many of them. But I'm so glad to share them.
What's your favorite one?
Well, like I said, number 2 on the first page, I slept and dreamt that life was joy. That's I can never get enough of that.
I like, and it relates to what your quote is that, the world is a story, you tell yourself about the world.
Do we all deeply understand this quote? You know, that the world is not what we think it is, right? We understand the world our own way. We carry an idea, which is really an idealization of the world in our heads. And the world, in my opinion, human beings are not capable of objectivity. Because we all have a subjective point of view, we all come from an individual standpoint, that to be objective is just beyond our capacity. And that is a huge issue in the question of truth. And so when we interact with the world, if we're mindful that our perception of the world is merely our own perception, that we have a little more forgiveness of ourselves and of the world not complying to our expectations. Please speak.
It's like, there is no out there.
Ha ha ha. It is like that for us, but while, I have to say, while I believe human beings aren't capable of that objectivity, I do believe there is such a thing. And we attempt to get perspective on it, we attempt to grasp it, and that furthers us in, for example, in science. And we do our best to get closer and closer to what that might be. But then we always hit the wall of the self and the individual and our subjective point of view. But I do agree with you, Abby, it's like it's not there. I think that's a valuable insight. We should just accept that we.
Well, it's there, but it's us.
And that is very hard to say what that
Telling the
is.
story, it's our story, it's what, right, so it's
Isn't it funny how a story has so many ways of looking at it, so many possible meanings that come out of it? When I was talking about words as all parts of the wholeness of love before, on one of my poetry books, at the top, a little blurb on the cover, at the top of the cover, it says, a word is a room full of doors, and a pen is a maker of mansions. That a word has so many directions we could go, so many connections. And so when we look at the full breadth of possibility in a word, we're really coming into a much bigger field of meaning.
Yeah, because the word has ancestors that go back
And
to
cousins.
to the very first
Ma.
Ma, right.
I think if we, go ahead, if you were gonna say something. I think if we try to understand the world with words, there's difficulty there, but if we rely on feelings and emotions and I mean, like we could have many words for the wind, but we could never really define the wind. But we could feel it. We can certainly feel it. We feel it pretty heavy here in Taos sometimes.
I'm reminded that Eskimos have 52 different words for snow.
Wow.
Along with your idea, Thomas, of feelings and emotions, that the right brain, the left hand, I always have to go to the hand to get the brain right, is holistic and image-based. So I think that goes along with what you're saying. Images carry feelings much more directly than words do. If we look at words as images, that helps. Especially when words are combined, they create image forms.
Yeah, I think we have another issue when we read somebody else's words, because that's their interpretation in words of the story.
That's our struggle, Thomas, as poets, that we write one thing and when the reader reads it, maybe. A woman in Japan asked me if I would allow her to translate a book of my poetry into Japanese.
Wow.
I'm like, yes, you have my permission. That's great. And we went back and forth for a year and a half. And her understanding of my poetry was like, what? And she eventually did publish it. And I don't know anyone Japanese, so I can't say what does this poem mean. But we never did understand each other. But in the end, we had worked so much on it that she just went ahead and published what she had. But she never got the understanding from my poems that I, not that she has to, but it was so, wow. Anyway, it's a struggle as a poet, you want to share an idea, and then the person goes, woo.
Yeah, I've experienced that with my poetry. My poetry is really verse poetry, so it has less, is less difficult for the reader to.
Your poetry is very direct.
Very direct.
Very clear.
Difficult.
Your intentions,
some
Can we hear
poetry
from some other people?
Marty?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I was just gonna say with this conversation that, a quote, I don't know who said it, was, actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
Do you know where that one came from?
I don't know where it comes from. That's gotta be an old one.
Yeah, it's just a very short thing. I did like Eleanor Roosevelt's, I like them all, but Leonardo da Vinci, as well spent days.
Oh, did you have the mic?
I think so, but
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, close to your mouth, just close. Like you're gonna eat it. There you
Okay,
go.
begin again.
Leonardo da Vinci's, I really like. As a well-spent day brings happy sleep, so life well used brings happy death.
Please comment more why that appeals to you so much.
Well,
Mike?
as a hospice nurse, I witnessed a lot of people that in late transition were very remorseful of some of their actions in life, and their passing, if they have not able to forgive themselves, was harder.
Can I ask you a personal question? Part of the quote is, happy sleep, a happy death. Do you believe that after physical death that we continue to exist and continue to have the repercussions of our lives?
I believe that there is no judgment after passing. One feels total unconditional love.
What about karmic lessons and karmic consequences?
I think it's all related to reincarnation and continuing with life lessons.
So wouldn't that make sense that based on how we've lived in our lives after death, that we do have some kind of disposition that needs a certain lifetime in our next life, that based on who we are at that point, we enter into a new life with the challenges appropriate to?
I'd like to comment.
Charles?
Yeah. Thank you. I'd like to propose that all karma is good.
All karma is good.
And so it's the compassion of God that allows us to review and to see the benefit of our experience.
So it's all lessons, huh?
And we're
No,
all,
I didn't say that. You said
Okay,
that.
oh, please respond.
Well,
So you disagree? I wanna hear
I
what
didn't
you,
say I disagreed.
oh,
I said
I'm lost,
all karma
Yeah.
is good.
right?
Okay.
and we're all that.
How does that not
A lesson.
translate as a lesson?
Well, that's your choice.
All right, I'm gonna think about that. Dave?
Well, it's fun, I laugh at these conversations because we're all one, right? It's, we always try to pick out a self that doesn't exist. And the pool of humanity or the pool of life and play these games, but that's what we do, isn't it? I guess it's fun.
You know, you say we don't exist, but
On that level.
on that level.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it seems like there's always this complementarity, there's always this aspect of reality where we are individuals, but we're parts of something larger, and neither one goes away. That if we find ourselves in the whole, then we find ourselves. By finding the larger whole, we find our wholeness.
Won't be in these words.
Yeah,
Can I do mine? Yeah.
please. No, Dave, you can't.
Please. I just like this one, that if you don't find God in the next person you meet, I love that. It is a waste of time looking for him further, so I can keep looking.
There you go. Keep finding God in every person you meet. That reminds me of another Gandhi quote. He was in a small village in India, and he urinated on the fountain in the center of the village. And the village elders said, "How dare you, how can you desecrate our fountain?" And he said, "Show me a place where God is not." You know, pissing on God wherever you piss, right? Mike?
I do have the mic.
Mike has the mic.
Mike has the mic. Thank you for pulling these together and
You're welcome.
sharing them. Since I was quoted in your introduction about words, I do think we communicate by words, but we experience directly. That's really what my point is on talking about what comes before the words. I started to tell my comments that but I decided not to. I think that this is really beautiful though, thank you. But the trees are not known by their leaves, nor even by their blossoms, but by their fruits. This is quoted as Eleanor of Aquitaine, but in reality it's a corruption of a biblical quote. You shall know them by their fruits. And my good friend Basil Braveheart, indigenous elder, Lakota elder, that's what he says. There's a lot of people that say I'm a medicine man or whatever, and he says, you shall know them by their fruits. Show me the fruits. And I think this is a great quote about that, but it is a slight corruption of a biblical quote.
Thanks for sharing that. So the fruits that children produce, sometimes a small child will say something, wow, so meaningful, so insightful, that's the fruit. Anyone?
I have them.
Yes?
There are these two that just keep, like, they're right after each other and they just keep merging together, and I think it's like this little lesson of my own life that let us enrich ourselves with our mutual differences. And then there are three truths: my truth, your truth, and the truth. It was almost like this part of my own self that like didn't have to always be right. And like, oh, you have your own point of view and I don't have to actually argue with you. Like it's like the lesson is in the statement of one is the lesson of the other one. Just oh wait, you get to actually share your whole opinion, everything about you, and I get to just listen and decide if I agree, but I don't have to like make you wrong. And I feel like that's, I always feel like I'm a late bloomer, so it's like, I'm a late bloomer, so it's like I'm getting this in my 40s, like now, like, because before it was like, I'd rather just prove you wrong. And now I'm like, no, I actually want to hear your truth and what it is for you.
I actually want to hear your truth. This also refers back to something we were saying earlier, that in my opinion, we can't be objective, that there's my truth, my subjective point of view, your truth, your subject, and then there's the truth, it's there, but we all are attempting to discern it at better and better, hopefully better and better ability, but we can't get by that wall. Thanks, Shelley. When we do allow other people's point of view to be as legitimate as our own, wow, we really can learn from that and grow and connect, which seems to be very important.
Anybody, let's just make sure we get everybody.
Back in the 60s, I was in the Air Force.
Is it William?
David.
David, every time I say
Yeah,
William.
back in the 60s when I was in the Air Force, we had this thing going on at night, like this maneuver, this secret, top secret thing, what have you. And there was a guy, I didn't know him that well, but I liked him and he liked me. And he was like a career sergeant. He drove to the parking lot, parked his vehicle, and walked right into this like secret, top secret area, stumbling, fumbling. It's like, whoa, you do something like that, you just don't do anything like that in the Air Force. But he walked right up to me and he said, he looked me square in the eye, and he says, if you talk with somebody for 3 or 5 minutes and you haven't learned something from that person, there's something wrong, not with him, but with you. And he looked me in the eye and he turned around and stumbled back.
Hey.
It's later on in life, like so many months later, I understood why he did what he did.
What about you, Mike?
All right, thank you for asking. I'll be as brief as I can. I don't know if I can pull out a specific quote, but let me just say my interpretation broadly, this first page, is a way of dealing with your one-on-one brother or sister human being, okay? And I can see myself walking down the street and pulling one of these quotes. If I have a reaction negative to somebody, I can say, okay, I'm gonna go to Carlos. I'm gonna go, we either make ourselves happy or miserable, amount of time is the same. That's what I can do. Yay. Thank you for the script.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Wednesday 2 or page 2 time.
Yeah, I like page 3.
Okay, all right.
Guess we'll have to have you back, Zach. Guess we'll have to do
Well,
this again.
What was it, Shelley, on page 2?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh,
like,
okay.
There's so
Well,
much.
There's so
I guess
many.
we'll have 10 sessions.
We could have 10 discussions about quotes. And if you have quotes too, to bring quotes you
Yeah,
love.
right, in the reading
In the
time.
reading and the sharing time.
Mm.
It's
I
an
have a quote.
open,
Thomas?
This has become my byword, and I'm using it in my website and some of our writing. It's a short quote, and it's, in relation to all the difficulties we have in life, the obstacles that stand in our way, the diseases, the trauma, the stuff.
Yeah.
My quote is, life is tough, but we're tougher. Thomas Vimes.
Thank you. Anybody else want to share a quote?
I will.
Okay.
Just a quick one. This is from Lao Tzu. The earth is a sacred urn. Those who seek to change it are changed by it.
Thank you. Anyone else? This is great.
How much time do we have?
not much.
Real quickly about words, I prefer to listen to songs sung in foreign languages, especially opera, so that I'm not told what to think. I can listen to the passion of the soul. So I get moved by indigenous music, where you can just really get lost in the vibration. But I do like well-crafted poetry put to melody, of course.
Microphone.
My quote that really turned my life around and stuck, and has become kind of a personal mantra, is from the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. Who we are now is what we have been. Who we will be is what we do now. And it has really transformed my life. I don't dwell on the past, and when I do, I'm able to pull out of that quicker, but be more conscious of what is my intention now, because my intention is paving who I will become.
Now is the seed of the future.
Keep writing that music.
Cool, thank you, Zach. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. And as someone who made 2 CDs from quotes that were meaningful to me, it started with this one quote by Teresa of Avila. Nada te turbe, nada te espante, todo se pasa, Dios no se muda. So I translated, and it was very much about the doing it with music, because it helps me remember those quotes and to keep them circulating in my consciousness easier than just verbiage. I love melody with words, and to keep it going. Let nothing disturb you, let nothing upset you. Everything passes, God alone is unchanging. Nada te turbe, nada te espante, todo se pasa, Dios no se muda, nada te turbe, nada te espante, todo se pasa, Dios no se muda, nada te turbe, nada te espante, todo se pasa, Dios no se muda. Todo se pasa, Dios no se muda. Nothing disturb you, nothing upset you. God alone is unchanging.
We are so lucky.
I know.
Thank you. It's really fun to co-write with Teresa Avila and all those great
Yeah, right.
sages and just take it totally in to all your cells and feel it, you know, really feel it and that one still I still feel like a babe in the woods on that one. That one teaches me every day. So let's sing our love song that's over there. Now there is love on earth and it has begun with me. Now there is love on earth, the love that was meant to be. With all our relations, loved ones all are we. Now I walk with my family in perfect harmony. Love has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in love eternally. Now there is love on earth, and it has begun with me. We are the light, the love, and the presence. Wherever we are, love is, and all is well. We have food up in the kitchen. We have Omar Rain coming next week to play beautiful music for you. Thank you all for sharing and being here today. Love you, Betsy.
Not this.
La, la, la.